Hi, this is Bill Prater, and welcome to the Business Builder Show, where we feature champions in their respective industry from all over the planet. Our mission is to provide you with timely, provocative, and actionable resources that will inspire, promote, and accelerate your quest for business excellence. Today, we're going to find out how to systematize your business, and David Jenyns will tell us all about how to do that. Now, here's why we should listen to David. He's an experienced entrepreneur who sold his company, Melbourne Cricket Ground, in his early 20s and founded Melbourne SEO Services. He systematized himself out of that business in 2016 and founded Systemology to help business owners implement systems to scale their business. Today, he supports a growing community of certified systemologists, delivers workshops, keynote addresses, hosts a podcast, and is on a mission to free business owners worldwide from daily business operations. David, it's great to have you, sir.
An absolute pleasure to be here, Bill. I feel like today's a little bit of a test on my systems also and what my contingency plans look like.
Actually, that's a very good point. And so I think you can tell people why you made that comment in a little bit. One of our questions will allow you to say, okay, let me tell you about my background. So, I mean, my physical background. So, David, I know, but our listeners do not yet know who you serve.
Yes, so I work with business owners, typically when they've got a small team around them, but they're very much stuck in the operations. They wear many hats in the business. They're sales, marketing, they're working to fulfill clients' requests, they're doing finance, they're wearing every hat, and they're really looking to grow a business beyond themselves, to step out of the day-to-day operations, to be able to work on it rather than in it. And I just focus on that piece and create a system to help them achieve that.
Now, because I know that you're a rapidly growing enterprise, and so tell us a bit about this other audience you serve, which would be coaches, consultants, whatever, who are looking for another service to offer in their portfolio.
Yeah, as you noted, we've got two really audiences that we serve. It's the business owner, and then the second piece is I've got quite a few coaches and consultants that license my material, which is Systemology. It's a method to help business owners step out of the day-to-day operations. And I work with coaches and consultants, teaching them the method, and they help to deliver it to their clients. So as this network continues to grow, they end up being the messengers for a lot of the work I do.
Okay, beautiful. I love that scaling model. Tell us about what problems you solve, and let's focus on the business owner side of your business.
Yeah, so a lot of business owners, they are the technician when they first get started. They know how to do the technical work. And as Michael Gerber talked about, sometimes it's a very different skill set that's required to run a business that delivers the technical work. And because they are the technician, that's oftentimes what traps them inside the business. So as the business starts to grow and scale, the business gets traction, they've got clients coming in the door, they've got a clear target audience, a clear product and service line, and they're just starting to get some of that momentum, and they're busy and they've got clients that are coming back. That's when the business owner really starts to get trapped and where we can help them the most. Oftentimes, they just need the tools to document, process, and delegate that. And that's really where we start to focus on. So sometimes the frustrations and the problems that we solve, it's the business owners feeling really stressed out, overworked, they're unable to step away from the business. Oftentimes they might have hit a glass ceiling in how far they can scale, like they've already started to reach some of those limits. And they're usually telltale signs that, hey, these are the problems we can step in and solve.
Maybe you could explain to our listeners how you typically go about solving the problems you've identified. Maybe even a case study or two might be helpful.
Yeah, so oftentimes when a client comes to us, they'll have a particular goal in mind, and it varies from business to business owner. Sometimes it's to exit the business, and they want to make sure that they can build up the value and have the business working independently, so someone might want to buy it. Sometimes they just want to take a holiday because they've been trapped inside the business for a really long time and they just can't break away. And even when they're on holiday, it's almost like they feel guilty and they're still checking in on their work and doing their emails and those sorts of things. And probably the other goal people come to us with is when they're looking to scale, because you need to have the systems and the processes in place. So generally, that's the situation that they're in. And as far as the process on how do we help them through this, the first step has a lot to do with going, what are the first 10 to 15 core systems that we need to identify and document? So we get clear on the client's target audience and pick a primary product or service, and then we map the linear journey that the prospect and the client goes through and the business goes through to deliver that product or service. And we just start off very high level. It's just a matter of going, what are we currently doing and what's working? That's a big part of the work that we do. It's not about reinventing or creating new process. Sometimes it's who already knows how to do this thing pretty well. Let's record what it is that they're doing and let's make that the new standard so that it can then be transferred or delegated, or basically have someone be able to step in. Sometimes it's to take tasks off the business owner's plate, and sometimes it's taking tasks off team members' plates. It's really about reducing key person dependency.
Excellent. David, you've got a lot of competitors on planet Earth, and I know that you're able to differentiate yourself pretty well and put them in the dust, so to speak. So tell us how you are different from your competition out there.
Yeah, look, there've been a few process improvement methodologies that came before us. Some of the really well-known ones are things like Lean and Six Sigma and total quality management. A lot of these methods are process improvement methodologies. So for the small business, it pre-assumes that you have a process that you're looking to improve. And a lot of those methodologies work really well in larger organizations or manufacturing, but they don't really apply very, very well to small businesses between 5 and 30 staff. So the work that we do, it's not process improvement, it's actually process capture first. The process improvement happens later, but again, it's just about what are we currently doing, and that becomes the baseline. So that right there probably knocks out 80% of our competition, just for the fact that they haven't narrowed in on this, and it's not purpose designed for this particular problem. And then being in game now, like working with small businesses in this capacity for close to 10 years in the system space, but then obviously through my other businesses beyond that with things like the digital agency, we just understand this problem very well. And this is all I've focused on, solving this one problem. So Systemology, when I wrote the book, it was to solve the problem that I had, or that a book that I wish I had when I'd gotten started, because like many business owners, they read the E-Myth and Traction and Scaling Up and Built to Sell. There's a lot of great business books that get someone started, and they all build the case for why you need to have systems and processes. But then the question is, but where do I start? What are the first few systems? How do I get my team on board? Where am I going to save these systems? How do I make sure that they're followed? Hey, I'm too creative to have systems and processes in my business. It's not going to work for me, and my team's not going to follow it. What do I do? Like, it's answering all of these questions, which is really where I've narrowed my attention.
Excellent, excellent. Very articulate and clear. So, let's kind of change hats a little bit, David, and tell us how you went about building Systemology. What were the
Yeah, so
major, maybe milestones that you had along the way?
probably the biggest one was what birthed the idea. I was just, I'd found out that we were pregnant, and I was working my digital agency, and I intuitively knew that systems and processes were important, but for whatever reason, in that business, I thought, oh, my digital agency is different. This business can't be systemized because I'm right on the cutting edge of what Google's algorithm changes are, and we're a creative digital agency, and my team is going to resist that process. They don't even like process. And I had all of this baggage. And then I found out we were pregnant. And then I thought, I don't want to be that dad who's always too busy. Like I was working 60, 70-hour work weeks at that point in time. And I went on the mission to systemize my own business and tested some of these assumptions, hired a CEO and stepped back. And when I stepped back, this is probably the turning point that you were looking for, a key milestone, completely unrelated, out of the blue. I had Michael Gerber's wife contact me and ask me to help launch Michael's last book in the E-Myth series called Beyond the E-Myth. Now, I don't do book launches. I ran the digital agency, and she happened to see me launch my first book. And she said, this is the first book that Michael wants to self-publish. Everything else has gone through HarperCollins, but we want to maintain the rights. So we want to do our own book launch. And we're looking for someone to do that. I saw that you just did a book launch for yours. I absolutely loved it. Can you do the same for Michael? And I was a little bit starstruck at the time. Like, Michael was one of the business gurus. He really paved the way for this idea of business systems for small businesses, and built the case for it and wrote the book, The E-Myth. And he's the guy that everybody knows came up with the idea of working on your business, not in your business, like an absolute legend. And here I had the opportunity to work with him on this project to launch his book, which is, I pretty much had to step away from my business, work full time on it for 3 months, and go all in on the idea, which I did. And I got to work closely with Michael and learnt so much through that process. And really, that birthed the idea of systemology. That's where a lot of the thinking came from. And I thought, you know what? I'm really good at solving this problem, and I understand it deeply. And with some guidance and direction, I wrote the Systemology book, and really the rest has been history after that.
So what would you say is actually holding your business back right now?
Probably right now, there's a lot of change that's going on in the world, the most amount of change that I've ever seen, particularly with the AI space. And it's getting very clear on where the puck is going and what's going to happen 2 or 3 moves down the line. And the more that I think about this, I still believe systems and processes will play a pivotal role in this AI world, because systems and processes really are just the programming for the machines.
Mhm.
And you need to tell the machines what to do. And that's just because the AI can generate 1,000 cat videos for you and post it on all of your social media. Just because it can doesn't mean you should. So it's becoming more and more important to know what are the core essential tasks in business, and how do we then get the machines to execute on those. So that's probably the biggest challenge for me right now, is understanding, where is this going? How do we stay ahead of the curve and relevant and right on the pulse? Because I do feel that administrative work, and really just work as we know it in every industry, in every department in business, is about to and is getting turned on its head with what is possible with AI and having the machines execute some of the tasks. So that's, yeah, that's probably the biggest challenge for me right now, is understanding that.
Okay, excellent. So how can our various listeners contact you? I'm thinking about other entrepreneurs, potential customers, potential certified coaches for you. How do they get a hold of you, David?
Yeah, best way, look, if you like some of the ideas I've talked about, would be to head over to Amazon, get yourself a copy of the Systemology book. If you're listening to this, you might like audio. There is an Audible version. Michael reads the forward. His wife makes a cameo as well. So it's a great listen. That really is the gateway to understanding my work. And then beyond there, just systemology.com. There's links through to my YouTube channel, and I've just got a truckload of material that helps business owners take this step.
Okay, excellent. So, David, I've asked you a few questions, but I probably missed one that I should have asked. So, tell me about one question that maybe is in your mind. You're waiting for me to ask it. So, what's the question I should have asked and the answer to it?
I think the question that a lot of business owners think about when they're starting this journey, and many of them have this automatic response where they go, yeah, but my business is different. And yeah, but I'm not really a systems person. Or I tried that once and it didn't quite work for me. The question is, can everybody, all business owners, build a systems driven business, even if they're not a systems person? And the short answer is yes. And it's actually quite common that business owners are not systems driven people. When I worked closely with Michael Gerber, I found that, which really surprised me. He's known as the godfather of business systems, but he doesn't enjoy documenting process. He's not really a systems doer, but he's recognized the value of the systems and then surrounds himself with the team members that are. So that's really the key. If you don't see yourself as a systems person, then you got to make sure that you are surrounded by people who embrace and enjoy systems, because the reality is systems driven businesses just deliver better results, better for your clients, better for your profit and your bottom line, and better for your staff, better for your suppliers. Everybody wins when the business runs efficiently and can deliver on the promises that it makes to their clients.
Great question, better answer, David. I loved it. So, everybody, let's focus on the single fact that our businesses do not become, let's do this again. 1, 2, 3. In closing, focus on the single fact that our businesses do not become extraordinary in a single moment. Instead, they get there as a result of the owner first having a strategic vision for the future. Number 2, having a system of management to execute that vision. And number 3, leveraging high performance teams, whether or not they're in your company or the resources like David, who just finished talking to you. So, thanks for listening. You can get all of those and more. Just go to my YouTube channel at Business Mastery Pro. Thanks for listening, David. Thanks much for spending your time with us today.
Pleasure.